Hello and welcome to the Career Readiness series from McDaniel College's Center for Experience and Opportunity. My name is Rich Goodman and I'm here to help you make a solid resume. I first want to say this is just an introduction. It's meant to inspire curiosity, but it does not replace an appointment with a career advisor. So go do that too. I also want to acknowledge that you will get different feedback on your resume from different people with different experiences, and that's okay. It's up to you to be a critical consumer of that information to see what works best for you. This is your document. With that said, here's my advice. Alright, but what even really is a resume though? A resume is a concise document that provides a thoughtful summary of your experiences to market your qualifications. It will not include everything. We know you do a lot. We know you deal with a lot, but recruiters take on average 6 to 7 seconds to decide if they want to keep reading. So we ain't got time for all that, so focus on the parts that you need them to see. Alright, let's start building. First step, do not use a template. You can window shop and look at templates to get ideas, but don't touch, and here's why. First of all, you might be thinking, these templates look pretty cute. I want my resume to be pretty. And that might be important if you're applying for an artist or marketing job where you need to use that space creatively for visual engagement. But they see a lot of resumes in a day, so if you use the same template as even 4 or 5 other people, you've gone from fun and creative to basic and unoriginal. Secondly, templates can be hard to edit later, so make your own, but you can always bring in design elements that you like from other examples. A resume is typically 1 or 2 pages long and no more. Remember, you have a very short time frame to catch the recruiter's attention. They're like a mystical fox or something. That's 1 or 2 pages, not between 1 and 2. 1.5 pages says that you can't be concise, but you also can't think of anything else about you worth filling the blank space on page 2. If you're applying for research or academia, you might make a CV, which has less rules than a resume because they want a lot more context. So a typical entry-level resume has 3 major areas and a bunch of optional ones. You always need contact info, education, and experience, usually in that order. If you've been out of school for a while and you've been working, you might want to put your experience section above your education, and that's okay as long as education is still prominent. Other optional sections might include leadership experience, extracurricular involvement, selected accomplishments, research, volunteering, skills, certifications, and awards and achievements. And make sure you use at least 11-point font and a nice clear print font so people can actually read it, nothing fancy. Alright, we got the basic format, so let's cover the content. Your name should be front and center, followed by your phone number and a professional email, not DojaCat420, your name at Gmail. This is also a good spot for your pronouns or a shortened link to your portfolio or LinkedIn. The address is optional. I usually say if you're applying for a job near you, go for the home field advantage, but if you're applying for a job far away, leave it out. Quick sidebar, I know you used to do an objective on your resume. That's not really needed unless you need to fill space. Some like to do a professional summary near the top. If you like that, go for it. I think you can use that space more effectively. For your education section, you want to list your graduation year, your type of degree, so a Bachelor of Arts if you're a McDaniel undergrad, your major, and then if you want, your minor. If you're a double major, list double majoring in because they better recognize the game. Same thing applies if you're an honors student, just list honors. If you have study abroad or a capstone experience that you want to feature, you can do that here too. Okay, here's the big one, your experience section. So what experience really counts? It's not just the 9 to 5. It's also shadowing and internships and fellowships and research and freelance work and volunteering and lab experiences, leadership experiences, dog sitting for your great Aunt Tessie. Prioritize the most meaningful ones, and if you weren't paid, leave out the word professional, just say experience. This experience is usually listed reverse chronologically with the most recent thing up top. But if you had a sweet internship 2 years ago and you want to prioritize that over your day job, there are ways to do that. With a functional resume, you can group by accomplishment and experience instead of timeline. But I prefer a hybrid model where you create a separate teaching or lab experience section first and then an other experience section after. You still follow a timeline within the sections, but now you can feature the most relevant experience up top. For each entry, list 2 to 4 bullet points that highlight responsibilities and accomplishments. Each bullet should be 1 to 2 lines, starting with an action verb using past or present tense depending upon when it happened. Give details. Don't just say weighted tables. Try to answer the questions of what, how, and why for every bullet point. What is the simple part? It's what you did. You helped customers, you cleaned the store, you scrolled on TikTok. What? I don't scroll on. How was giving quantities or methods or tools or software you might have used, or even how you handled yourself. You provided prompt and friendly service to your section of 10 tables. Why is often neglected but extremely important. Y is your chance to proactively tell an employer that you know the quality of your work matters, and you're not just there to answer calls and push buttons and get paid, even if that's true. You clean the store to ensure adherence to health and safety standards. You following me? You maintain professional customer service to provide a welcoming and satisfactory experience. You got it? All right, we're going to move on. For sections after experience, you don't need to include much aside from the dates you were involved in any leadership roles you held, unless you have space to fill, in which case add context. A strong volunteering section shows that you care enough about something to give your time freely for a cause. A solid research section can show what concepts, methods, and materials you've used. Extracurricular experience is great experience, so think about what information this employer might care about. A common question I receive is whether you should share experiences that might indicate your identities on a resume. First of all, it's illegal for an employer to discriminate based upon protected identities. That said, I know it still happens, and there's also implicit bias in some recruiting practices. Some advisors say to focus on transferable skills from experiences. Some advisors say to completely avoid identity on a resume, and some folks say to only pursue opportunities that value your identities. None of those options are always easy or possible, and so the question of whether you should list that student group or that religious trip is completely up to you, and you should feel empowered to make that decision. For this last section, we're going to talk about how to take your resume to the next level. You should update your resume at least 1 to 2 times per year so you can keep track of your accomplishments. It's hard to remember that you learned HPLC or InDesign in your sophomore year, but that might be a crucial point that your recruiter is looking for. Speaking of which, let's talk about applicant tracking systems, or ATS. Many companies, organizations, and agencies use an automated system called an ATS to sort through all their applications. If the ATS can't read your resume or find the right keywords, your application might be bumped down, so don't be one of the ones that gets tossed out by Siri. Read the job description carefully to make sure that your resume mentions all the requirements. Use some of the same keywords that they do, and maybe throw in a couple of important modern phrases in your industry. This is also why you don't use complex fonts or, again, templates to make sure that the ATS is able to read your resume. Unless the application specifies differently, save the document with your name and resume in the title and save it as a PDF so that you can preserve your formatting. Last thing. Proofread it. Read it out loud. Read it again. Give it to your friend, your professor, Nana, all 3 of them, because small mistakes make big differences, and this is going to be absolutely perfect. Well, that's it. I hope this was helpful. Please set up an appointment with a career advisor to review your beautiful new resume. Check out the other videos in this career readiness series, and I hope you have a lovely day. See you later.